Pull up that easy chair and sit right down for the best music in your town.
Here on Way Back with Johnny. Now don't turn that dial. The program's about to begin.
Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hopping, Easter's on its way.
I can hear the bluebirds calling, the bluebirds calling me back to my home.
I bound your Easter bonnet and on the girl I'm taking to the Easter parade.
Morning, friends and listeners of the Way Back with Johnny show here on CFRC 1019 FM and also www.oshawarocks.com. I'd like to welcome y'all into the Way Back with Johnny show on this, our Easter Sunday morning. So with that, sit back, relax, and enjoy this trip down memory lane and down that old bunny trail as we pay tribute to some of the greatest Easter classics in all country music history. Welcome in, friends, and happy listening.
Placed upon his head piercing thorns of blood-stained red. His raiment was a scarlet purple robe.
I stayed bright as the crowd slowly gathered. Like the sheep he was humble to his father's own.
For his Easter Sunday morning.
Good morning to each and every one of you in downtown Kingston listening area, the Way Back with Johnny show. This also is coming to you via the Woodlock Ranch and Studios, as we usually do, via Cornwall, Ontario. We can also be heard, as always, via www.oshawarocks.com. With all that shared, I would like to share that this, of course, is Easter Sunday morning, and I'd also like to invite y'all in to join me for the next 3 hours as we remember and celebrate the timeless classics associated with this holy, yet festive time of year. Let's open today's program with a festive favorite associated with Easter Sunday morning, and that, of course, is a song by the same title and sung by the legendary Nat King Cole. Then we'll follow with the cowboy pioneer and holiday singer of songs associated with holidays, Gene Autry, and his all-time classic called Peter Cottontail. With that, I would like to say good morning to each and every one of you listening in. And happy Easter, everybody!
Easter bells are ringing, ding dong ding. April has her holiday, for his Easter Sunday morning, and Easter never looked so gay. Lovely ladies wearing new chapeaus, promenading with their bows, for his Easter Sunday morning, and spring is dressed in her best clothes. Children wide awake since break of dawn, rolling painted eggs around the lawn. Neighbors on their way to church who call Happy Easter to all. Listen to my heart go ding-dong ding, like the Easter bells above, for his Easter Sunday morning, and I'm home with the ones I love. Children wide awake since break of dawn, rolling painted eggs around the lawn. Neighbors on their way to church who call Happy Easter to all. Listen to my heart go ding-dong ding, like the Easter bells above, for his Easter Sunday morning, and I'm home with the ones I love.
And now the mailbag tells us that you folks have really gone for my little Easter friend, so here he is again. Peter Cottontail. Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity-hopping, Easter's on its way, bringing every girl and boy baskets full of Easter joy, things to make your Easter bright and gay. He's got jelly beans for Tommy, colored eggs for Sister Sue. There's an orchid for your mommy and an Easter bonnet too. Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity-hoppity, happy Easter day. You wake up on Easter morning and you know that he was there when you find those chocolate bunnies that he's hiding everywhere. Oh, here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity-hoppity, happy Easter day. Hippity-hoppity, happy Easter day.
Well, yes, friends, once again, it's that time in the program where I like to pay tribute to some special dedications as we open up today's program. With this being Easter Sunday morning, I would like to dedicate some special Easter-type songs to some dear friends and family. First of all, we're going to hear a song going out to my beloved Mama Dawn on this Easter Sunday morning, and a special song I grew up listening to on my parents' radio many years ago. It'll be the old Montana Slim himself, Welf Carter, and a song called There's a Bluebird on My Windowsill. Then we'll follow with a classic going out to a very special friend of mine on this Easter morning. You know who you are, and with that it's going to be a classic by the Canadian country gentleman Tommy Hunter and a song called A Daisy a Day. Then we'll wrap up with another all-time favorite, this time going out to my friend Willie Lapointe, who we affectionately call the Mayor of Verona, Ontario. It'll be a beautiful gospel song called The Purple Robe and is sung by the legendary Cowboy Copas. With that, I would like to say good morning to each and every one of you listening in. Welcome in, friends, and happy Sunday morning, and also happy Easter.
There's a bluebird on your windowsill, there's a rainbow in your sky. There are happy thoughts your heart to fill, dear enough to make you cry. With every tear you've washed away, all things kept locked inside. You count your joys this lovely day, and you wonder why you cried. There's a bluebird on your windowsill, there's a rainbow in your sky. There are happy thoughts your heart to fill, dear enough to make you cry. And if perchance your heart grows sad, you still can smile again. With every tear you've ever shed comes sunshine after rain. There's a bluebird on your windowsill, there's a rainbow in your sky. There are happy thoughts your heart to fill, dear enough to make you cry. The rainy days may come and go, the clouds soon roll away. Everything will come if you wish it so, as an answer when you pray. There's a bluebird on your windowsill, there's a rainbow in your sky. There are happy thoughts your heart to fill, dear enough to make you cry.
He remembers the first time he met her. He remembers the first thing she said. He remembers the first time he held her, and the night that she came to his bed. He remembers her sweet way of saying, "Now honey, has something gone wrong?" He remembers the fun and the teasing, and the reason he wrote her this song. I'll give you a daisy a day, dear. I'll give you a daisy a day. I'll love you until the rivers run still, and the four winds we know blow away. They would walk down the street in the evening, and for years I would see them go by. And their love that was more than the clothes that they wore could be seen in the gleam of their eye. As a kid, they would take me for candy, and I'd love to go tagging along. We'd hold hands while we walked to the corner, and the old man would sing her his song. I'll give you a daisy a day, dear. I'll give you a daisy a day. I'll love you until the rivers run still, and the four winds we know blow away. Now he walks down the street in the evening, and he stops by that old candy store, and I somehow believe he's believing. He's holding her hand like before, for he feels all her love walking with him, and he smiles at the things she might say. Then the old man walks up to the hilltop, and he gives her a daisy a day. I'll give you a daisy a day, dear. I'll give you a daisy a day. I'll love you until the rivers run still, and the four winds we know blow away.
It's a story so unkind in the holy book we find, and it tells how Jesus stood alone one day. All's accused and they're condemned, yet they found no fault in him, the man who wore the scarlet purple robe. Purple robe my Savior wore, oh the shame for me he bore, as he stood alone, forsaken on that day. And they placed upon his head piercing thorns of blood-stained red. His raiment was a scarlet purple robe. In the common judgment hall, he was mocked and scorned by all, and the the tears of sorrow fell upon his cheek. Soldiers of the wicked band smote him with their evil hand. The man who wore the scarlet purple robe, purple robe my Savior wore, oh, the shame for me he bore, as he stood alone forsaken on that day. And they placed upon his head piercing thorns of blood-stained red. His raiment was a scarlet purple robe. Words of truth that day was plain from the lips of Pilate King. In this man I find no reason he should die. But the multitude then cried, let him now be crucified. The man who wore the scarlet purple robe, purple robe my Savior wore, oh, the shame for me he bore, as he stood alone forsaken on that day. And they placed upon his head piercing thorns of blood-stained red. His raiment was a scarlet purple robe.
You say I need a rest, why don't I go and see my sister way out west?
Hi, this is Jan Howard of the Grand Ole Opry, reminding you that you're listening to Johnny Woodlock right here on Wayback CFRC.
Don't think that you're the only one that must contend with evil on your mind.
Now, friends, I'd like to once again pay tribute to the mighty Ottawa Valley that we call our second home here at the Way Back with Johnny show. With that mentioned, let's begin, as we usually do, with sending out some special dedications to some dear friends and family, but also to some dear Ottawa Valley legends. First of all, we're going to send out a song to Uncle Ray and Aunt Margaret in Eganville, Ontario, on the old Mud Lake Road. For them today will be a classic by the legendary Queen of the Ottawa Valley, as I have often named her, Miss Gail Gavin, and a classic called The Log Driver's Song. We'll then follow with a song for Vic Garbett, and of course they're from Iron Pryor, Ontario, and Vic has his weekly Sunday evening show over CJHR Valley Heritage, and it'll be a classic called Maple Sugar, and then that's sung by the legendary Hank Rivers, Henri La Riviere, and we'll wrap up with another all-time favorite, this time by my good buddy and friend of Brockville, Tom Wilson, and it'll be Tom's classic called Gather at the Manger, which Tom wrote in the style of gospel music, but is also the story of Jesus and his journey on this earth. With that, we'll say good morning and good day to all the Valley listeners. Happy Easter out there, one and all.
There's a valley I know where the tall timbers grow, where the Ottawa River flows swiftly along. In the spring if you go where the headwaters flow, you can hear this old log driver's song. Yo, hip, hip, ho, keep the logs on the go, keep them rolling and twisting and send the spray high. Yo, hip, hip, ho, through the rapids below, where the Ottawa River flows by. In the fall of the year, they pack up their gear for the lunch and the schwaya and all camps along. In the rain or in shine, they fall the white pine. You can hear this old log driver's song. Yo, hip, hip, ho, keep the logs on the go, keep them rolling and twisting and send the spray high. Yo, hip, hip, ho, through the rapids below, where the Ottawa River flows by. In the long years gone by, when the red pine stood high, Kippawa to Black River, the timber did fall. In the spring of the year, when the big drive did steer, you can hear this old log driver's song. Yo, hip, hip, ho, keep the logs on the go, keep them rolling and twisting and send the spray high. Yo, hip, hip, ho, through the rapids below, where the Ottawa River flows by. It's a mighty long tow from the Swesha to Chenot, by Pembroke and Chapeau down to Campbell's Bay. At Port Ashdiford, where they'd stop for a port and tune up their fiddles to play. Yo, hip, hip, ho, keep the logs on the go, keep them rolling and twisting and send the spray high. Yo, hip, hip, ho, through the rapids below, where the Ottawa River flows by. For the valley I yearn, someday I'll return, where the Ottawa River flows swiftly along. And if I'm still alive, I'll go back on the drive and sing this old log driver song. Yo, hip, hip, ho, keep the logs on the go, keep them rolling and twisting and send the spray high. Yo, hip, hip, ho, through the rapids below, where the Ottawa River flows by, where the Ottawa River flows by.
Now I left her in the mountains in the golden summertime, and I told her not to worry, little darling gal of mine. I told her that I loved her, I always would be true. When the moon comes o'er the mountain, I'll be waiting here for you. She's my darling, my sweetheart, she's the only one for me. With a heart as pure as gold, and in dreams her face I see. For soon I'll be returning, and the wedding bells will chime. I'll make her mine forever when it's maple sugar time. Lord Allen, he'd play fiddle, folks will come from far away to the maple sugar hove down on our happy wedding day. I'll feel like a country king, we'll paint a lovely scene. I'll kiss her smiling ruby lips, she'll be my pretty queen. She's my darling, my sweetheart, she's the only one for me. With a heart as pure as gold, and in dreams her face I see. For soon I'll be returning, and the wedding bells will chime. I'll make her mine forever when it's maple sugar time.
Shepherds came here to adore him when the angels called them in. He was born to save his children from the wicked path of sin. Come and gather at the manger where our Savior Christ was born. Be you family, friend, or stranger, join us on this Christmas morn. Though the road leads from this manger to the cross of Calvary, He will keep us from all danger, saying, come and dwell with me. Come and gather at the manger where our Savior Christ was born. Be you family, friend, or stranger, join us on this Christmas morn. Savior Christ was born. Be you family, friend, or stranger, join us on this Christmas morn. I was born beside that river.
Hello, this is Tom Wilson of Border Bluegrass. You're listening to my good friend Johnny Woodlock on Way Back. Stay tuned for classic country music.
And the St. Lawrence River.
Well, now, friends, I'd like to once again welcome y'all to the Way Back with Johnny show, and also mention that, including during this Easter Sunday morning, I would like to pay tribute to some great legendary interviews I've got to do over the years. With that mentioned, let's first of all pay tribute to an interview that I got to do and record some years ago with a man who just celebrated his 90th birthday this past week, the legendary gospel pioneer and homecoming host of his own TV show, Bill Gaither. With that mentioned, we're going to pay tribute to an all-time favorite interview of mine from years gone by with Bill Gaither, and then we'll follow this with an all-time very classic and very beloved hymn that he wrote along with his wife Gloria Gaither, and it's going to be called Because He Lives. With that, we'll say good morning to each and every one of you listening in. Now here, let's turn back the years and remember an all-time classic interview between myself and the legendary Bill Gaither. I'd like to welcome to the Way Back Country Gospel Jamboree today a true national treasure in gospel music. This man has enjoyed over 7 decades in gospel music. He has also recorded and written many gospel songs. Please welcome to the show today, Mr. Bill Gaither.
Johnny, it's a joy to be with you, my friend.
It's a true honor, and
it's good to be with you.
So, born in Indiana in 1936, what got you into gospel music?
The radio. I turned on the radio probably when I was 12, 13 years old, 47, 48, and heard a gospel quartet.
Okay.
They were called the Dixie Four.
Okay.
They were quite good, I thought, for their time, and 4 guys and a piano. And they came to our little town in Alexandria, and I went out to see them as a kid, and I thought, man, that is fantastic. I'd love to be able to do that one of these days when I grow up. And so after high school and college, we started writing some songs, and the songs caught on, and we formed our own group, and the rest is kind of history. God honored it, blessed it, and we've had so many good Canadian friends down through the years. I remember the first time we came to Toronto at the Massey Hall and sang for Harold Lossing and the gospel singing up there. Had a great time, met a lot of wonderful friends.
I should ask, back in 1945, you brought together your sister and your brother and formed the Bill Gaither Trio.
Yes, that happened in 1955.
Okay.
I was in college at the time, and I wanted to sing, and so my brother was quite a good singer, and my little sister was only 14, 15, taught her parts, and we started singing a lot of the stuff the Statesmen of Blackwoods and the Spear Family were singing, and then later on I got to know those wonderful people, and they became our friends. But they were our early inspiration for what we do. And
you also have been responsible for recording many songs and writing many of the hymns of modern-day churches.
We've been blessed at that point. When you write a song, you think you're just writing it for yourself, and He Touched Me was one of our first songs that got outside the city limits here, and outside the state limits, and then outside the country to Canada, to England, to Norway, Sweden, Brazil.
Okay.
And then later on came There's Something About That Name, and Because He Lives.
Because He Lives, that's a true classic here at the Jamboree. We play it quite often.
We've been blessed, and Laura and I taught public school for 10 years.
Okay.
And then God honored what we were doing as part-time and became full-time, and since then have been able to see a lot of different parts of the world, and Canada is certainly one of those beautiful places.
Well, thank you. One of my questions here is, what has been the biggest change in gospel music genre during the past 70 years that you've been in it?
Probably the instrumentation.
Okay.
When I started, it was basically a pianist and the 4 singers, and then they added a bass, and then they added drums,
Yes.
and they added rhythm guitar, and then they added electric guitar, and but in the very beginning, you basically heard a group. The Peppers are probably the first group to use guitars,
Okay.
acoustic guitars, and some bass. But for the most part, the early groups were basically piano and quartet.
And I am a little discouraged because nowadays there's even drums used.
Well, I think any instrument can be used to the glory of God, and the drums give us a lot of rhythm feel things that we probably couldn't have done otherwise. But,
Okay. And I would also like to ask you, what are your thoughts on the fact that in modern times there is such a decline in church attendance?
Well, I hear that, and yet I go to churches where the things are jammed out. I think those statistics are coming from old line denominations.
Okay.
Like Methodists and Baptists and Lutherans and Presbyterian and Catholic churches.
Okay.
But there are a lot of independent churches I don't think are part of that equation, because some of these new mega churches, my land, they got 10, 20, 30,000 people coming. So I've never understood that statistic. I don't think they're including the independents.
Okay, sure. Would you tell us about the song that you wrote called Because He Lives?
Because He Lives at the end of the 60s, beginning of the 70s, during the Vietnam War, where there was a lot of turmoil going on in our country.
Yes.
A lot of God is dead theology and all that kind of stuff. And we had our baby. And we said, who in the world would bring in a baby and just kind of claim it? And we concluded that the world's never been very stable. Just one crisis after the next.
Yes.
And if you're waiting to bring a baby into the world until it gets stable, even Jesus probably wouldn't have been born, because he was born in a very turbulent time himself.
That's for sure, yes.
And so we wrote How Sweet to Hold Our Newborn Baby and Feel the Pride and the Joy that he brings. But greater still, the calm assurance this child can face uncertain days because Christ lives.
And it's one of our most played of yours, I must tell you that, Bill.
I appreciate it, Johnny.
So, my next interview is with one of your legendary singers, and that is Donnie Sumner. Do you have any memories of J.D.?
Oh, J.D. was a wonderful person, an incredible bass singer.
Yes.
And just a whole lot of fun to be around. It was always joking, having fun. He got off the plane one time, and a kid came up to him and said, "Sir, would you give me $20? And J.D. said, "What are you going to do with it?" And the kid said, "I'm going to give it to Jesus." And J.D. said, "Well, son, how old are you anyway?" And the kid said, "I'm 23. J.D. said, "Well, I'm 75. I'll see Jesus before you will. I'll give it to him and make sure
Yes.
that he knows that it came from you. I'll give you the credit for
Exactly,
it."
yes.
Oh, he had a great sense of humor.
Okay.
A lot of fun to be around. And Donnie, incredible young man, loves the Lord, strayed from the Lord in his youth, but came back, wrote some great songs. Probably The Night Before Easter is probably one of his most famous songs. But a good man and a good young man that I love to spend time with.
And so that comes to the last question, Mr. Gaither, and that is, how would you like to be remembered when the time comes?
Well, that's a good question. I would hope people would call me a bridge.
Okay.
I think Jesus was a bridge. I think Jesus brought people together. Whosoever will may come. And I'd hope when I'm dead and gone, people say, Bill helped bring us together. There are more things that unite us than those things that divide us. And I hope I'm known for that.
So I want to thank you for this interview today, Mr. Gaither. My grandmother watches you every Friday night on PBS, and it's been a true honor.
Blessings to you, Johnny, and you have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How sweet to hold our newborn baby and feel the pride and joy
greater still. The calm assurance our boy can face uncertain days because he lives. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know he holds the future. And life is worth the living just because he lives. And then one day I'll cross that river. I'll cross that river. I'll fight life's final war with pain. I'll fight life's final war with pain. And then as death gives way to victory, and then as day gives way to victory, I'll see the lights of glory. I'll see the lights of glory. And I'll know he reigns. I'll know he reigns. And because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know he holds the future. And life is worth the living just because he lives. Now life is worth the living just because he
And hear my radio come to life with music from my favorite bluegrass show.
Now look at me, baby, I'm on the way gone.
Hear the lonesome dove.
Howdy, friends and listeners. This here's your old host with most. I'd like to tell you all about the 2026 Gallup Canal Bluegrass Festival. Coming up this summer of 2026, happening from June 17th to the 20th, where you can see some of the greatest bluegrass legends of today, such as Jackson Hollow, High River, and of course, our headliner, Junior Sisk. The full weekend pass only costs $120 in advance. That's until June 1st to 2026. However, there will also be day passes available at the gate. So get yours today by visiting GallupCanalBluegrass.ca or by contacting Barb at 613-543-3114. See y'all there, friends.
Where we vow to love each other.
Heavenly angel, I'm where I belong, right here in your arms.
How about you? I'm hooked on bluegrass best music. It's the only drug I use.
Well, yes, friends, once again, it's that time in the program following that interview with our legendary friend and gospel host, Bill Gaither, to turn back the years to the Vinyl Blast from Vinyl Past weekend. But first, we must open the Vinyl Vault door here at the Way Back with Johnny show. Now that the Vinyl Vault door is wide open, once again, I would like to turn back the years to the golden era of Easter-inspired gospel favorites and play two original vinyl records of two classics. First of all, it's going to be the Queen of the Appalachian Mountain of West Virginia, Miss Wilma Lee Cooper, and her version of 30 Pieces of Silver. Then we'll follow with Cowboy Copas, the legendary legend of country music, and his all-time classic version of the story of Jesus, as told by the legend of the Robin Redbreast. With that, I hope y'all enjoy these classics and welcome in friends to the Way Back with Johnny's Easter Celebration 2026.
Tis a sad but true story, from the Bible it came. 'Twas a chosen disciple, though I mention no name. He planned with the council of high priests that day. 30 pieces of silver was the price they would pay. 30 pieces of silver, 30 shekels of shame was the price paid for Jesus. On the cross he was slain, betrayed and forsaken, unloved and unclaimed. In anger they pierced him, but he died not in vain. 'Twas there on the hillside the multitude came and found our dear Savior. Then they took him away. They smote him and mocked him, thorns were crowned round his head, and his raiment of purple showed the blood stains of red. Far off in the mountains, with face toward the sun, Judas begged mercy for what he had done. He gave back the silver, for his heart filled with strife. Then there in the mountains, he took his own life. 30 pieces of silver, 30 shekels of shame was the price paid for Jesus. On the cross he was slain, betrayed and forsaken, unloved and unclaimed. In anger they pierced him, but he died not in vain.
Oh, have you heard this story? It happened long ago, when Christ our blessed Savior was here on earth below. An echo through the ages from distant Calvary. I'll tell it to you simply as it was told to me. It breathes the blessed teaching of God's own holy word, a lesson taught in meekness by a lowly little bird. Jesus hung in sorrow, our debt of shame to pay. No one was there to comfort or wipe his tears away. A little bird flew near him in sober coat of brown, and gazed in tender pity, then slowly fluttered down. With gentle wings it fanned him to cool his aching head, and hovered near his bosom, all stained with deepest dread. At last, when all was ended, as if to mourn his loss, it rose with blood-stained feathers and circled round the cross. It breathes the blessed teaching of God's own holy word, a lesson taught in meekness by a lowly little bird. It flew away in sadness, and to this day 'tis said, it wears upon its bosom that stain of crimson red. When I shall cross the valley and go to seek my rest, may I wear like the robin God's sign upon my breast. It breathes the blessed teaching of God's own holy word, a lesson taught in meekness by a lowly little bird.
Well, yes, friends, once again, we have reached the end of the first hour of the Way Back with Johnny show here on CFRC 101.9 FM and also www.oshawarocks.com. As we celebrate Sunday morning and also Easter Sunday morning at that, I would like to once again share a collection of sacred gospel favorites. First of all, we'll hear from the legendary reigning queen of country music, in my honest opinion, Connie Smith, and her all-time classic called Don't Let Me Walk Too Far from Calvary. We'll then follow with the king of country music, of course, Roy Acuff, Roy Claxton Acuff, the original and one and only true king of country music, and a classic called From Cradle to Cross to Crown. And then, if there's enough time, we'll go into the very top of the second hour with none other than a song dedicated in loving memory of my late grandmother and granny. And it'll be an all-time classic by Ernest Tubb and the Old Rugged Cross. With that, I'll say good morning to each and every one of you listening in. Welcome in, friends, and happy Easter Sunday morning.
As long as I can see you hanging on a distant cross, dying between two common thieves, spat upon and mocked. As long as I can see your open wounds that bleed for me, then I can be what you want me to be. But don't let me walk too far from Calvary. Don't spare the agony of Gethsemane. I might soon forget the death you died for me. That's why I pray, Lord, don't let me stray too far from Calvary. If I can hear the hammering and see your wounded side, if I can feel the pain you felt when you hung your head and died, if I can see forgiveness in your eyes of love for me, Lord, I can be what you want me to be. But don't let me walk too far from Calvary. Don't spare the agony of Gethsemane, 'cause I might forget the death you died for me. That's why I pray, Lord, don't let me stray too far from Calvary. Oh, that's why I pray, God, don't let me stray too far from
He was born in a manger, a small tiny stranger, in a crib that was callously made. Just some boards nailed together, not fit for a beggar, was the place where the Savior was laid. Down through the ages, the people sing praises for the light of God's love shining down. As it shines, I can see the pathway before me, from cradle to cross to crown. Through the streets of the city crawled a man filled with pity, while bearing the weight of a tree. As they ruthlessly nailed him, it seemed his father had failed him, but he knew what his purpose must be. It was on Sunday morning he arose with the dawning, shattering death's mighty hold. Now he's back home in heaven, but soon he'll be coming, wearing a crown made of gold. Down through the ages, the people sing praises for the light of God's love shining down. As it shines, I can see the pathway before me, from cradle to cross to crown. From cradle to cross to crown.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross. the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. In the old rugged cross, stained with blood so divine, a wondrous beauty I see. For 'twas on that old cross Jesus suffered and died to pardon and sanctify me. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity.
Hello, this is Merv Shiner, the singer of Peter Cottontail, and you're listening to my good friend Johnny Woodlock at the Way Back. Happy Easter, everybody.
Hippity hoppity, happy Easter Day.
Well, yes, friends, once again, we are back here on the Way Back with Johnny show here on the second hour of our Way Back Easter Sunday 2026 celebration. With that mentioned, I would like to remind y'all that we are still coming to you via the Woodlock Ranch and Studios in Cornwall, Ontario. Also being heard over www.oshawarocks.com. And of course, our home for the past 10 years at CFRC 119 FM in downtown Kingston. With that all mentioned, I would like to now pay tribute to our first double feature of this weekend, and with that mentioned, I would actually like to remember a late friend of mine who I knew very well before his passing at the age of 102. That, of course, was the legendary Merv Shiner, who, among many other things during his career, was the first person to ever actually record the beloved Easter classic, Here Comes Peter Cottontail. With that shared, let's turn back the years to the last interview I did with Merv in 2023, a short time before his passing. And at that time, we talked about Peter Cottontail and how he came to record it. We'll then follow with that all-time classic 1950 original version of the classic, and then follow that with the flip side, B-side of that album, and it will be called Floppy. With that, welcome in, friends, and good morning to each and every one of you listening in on this great channel. In 1950, you also had your signature song, Peter Cottontail, released.
In January of 1950, my producer sent me a song called Peter Cottontail and Floppy, and I said to my producer, what happened to my career in country music? He said, don't worry about country music, Merv. You're going to be fine. But next week, we're going to record Peter Cottontail the first week of January in 1950. I recorded Peter Cottontail and Floppy in New York City. When I recorded Peter Cottontail in January 1950, it sold 1 million copies. That took me to the Grand Ole Opry in Easter time, the day before Easter in 1950. I was on the Grand Ole Opry with Hank Williams
Sr.
Yes. What has the story songs of Peter Cottontail, Floppy, and all those meant to you over the years, Merv?
Well, my producer said to me, Merv, if you want to, we can do some more children's songs besides your country song, because your diction is very plain, and the children can hear and listen to what you're saying. If you want to do that, I said, well, sure. So I did Floppy, Peter Cottontail, the rabbit with the 2 buck teeth, Sonny the bunny.
And Egbert the Easter egg.
Oh, yeah, right. I forgot about that. They were all big songs.
They sure
Egbert the Easter egg.
Did you ever think these songs would last as long as they have?
No, but I'm glad, because, you know, my producer never let me forget. Marv, you're the guy that didn't record the song, and I said we're going to record it next week in New York. And he was so right, and I'm happy to this day. Everywhere I go to this day, I'll say, you don't remember my name, but you remember my song, Peter Cottontail. Great memories, Johnny.
Yes. If you would do one last thing for me, and let's sing Peter Cottontail.
Sure.
Okay, sure.
Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hopping, Easter's on its way, bringing every girl and boy a basket full of Easter joy, things to make your Easter bright and gay. There'll be jelly beans for Tommy, colored eggs for Sister Sue, an orchid for your mommy, and an Easter bonnet too. Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail, hippity hopping, happy Easter day. Happy Easter, Johnny. Happy Easter.
Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hoppin', Easter's on its way, bringing every girl and boy baskets full of Easter joy, things to make your Easter bright and gay. He's got jelly beans for Tommy, colored eggs for Sister Sue. There's an orchid for your mommy, and an Easter bonnet too. Oh, here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hoppity, happy Easter day. On Easter morning, and you'll know that he was there when you find those chocolate bunnies that he's hiding everywhere. Oh, here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hoppity, happy Easter day. Most little bunny rabbits have very pretty ears that stand up at attention for anything it hears. But Floppy is a rabbit whose ears are very strange. The thing that makes them different is the way they are arranged. He has one ear up, one ear down. When he tries to hop, his naughty ear gets in his eyes, and on his head he flops. Poor Floppy, poor Floppy, Floppy didn't have a friend at all. Poor Floppy, saddest little bunny of them all. Poor Floppy, Floppy didn't have a friend at all. Poor Floppy, saddest little bunny of them all. Now Floppy had a sweetheart when he was very young. She was a pretty bunny, and they had lots of fun. But when his sweetie noticed his very funny ears, she kicked her heels and fluffed her tail and promptly disappeared. Poor Floppy, Floppy didn't have a friend at all. Poor Floppy, saddest little bunny of them all. Poor Floppy, Floppy didn't have a friend at all. Poor Floppy, saddest little bunny of them all. But when it comes to Easter, the other bunnies beg to carry Floppy's basket and color Easter eggs. For though his ears are funny, it doesn't mean a thing. You see, it is his ears that made him Easter Bunny King. Poor Floppy didn't have a friend at all. Poor Floppy, saddest little bunny of them all. Poor Floppy, Floppy didn't have a friend at all. Poor Floppy, saddest little bunny of them all.
Now, friends, I would like to once again welcome to our Way Back with Johnny show a very special guest of honor and our beloved mascot, Simbush the Wonder Husky. With that shared, let's celebrate a collection of beloved yet all-time favorites that are, well, sometimes often forgotten in today's era. But it's going to be a collection of children's favorites. First of all, it's going to be an all-time classic by Rosemary Clooney and a classic called Bunny on the Rainbow. We'll then follow with another all-time favorite, this time by cowboy pioneer and holiday singing legend Gene Autry, and another favorite called Funny Little Bunny with the Powder Puff Tail. Then we'll wrap up with a true essential Easter favorite as sung by the one and only singing ranger Hank Snow in his all-time version of a classic that very few ever knew he recorded, but it's going to be called Easter Parade. With that, I'll say thank you, Simbush, for your contribution to today's program. And I hope the Easter Bunny's good to you. Welcome in, friends.
There's a bunny on the rainbow, busy as he can be. He's painting Easter eggs for you, yellow, pink, and green and blue, while he's working on the rainbow, singing tra-la-tra-lee. He fills his baskets to the top, fast as he can paint and hop. Then when sleepy time rolls around, he comes hurrying to the ground. All those Easter eggs he must hide around the town and the countryside. Then on Easter morning, Bunny plays peekaboo. He claps his hands each time you find all the eggs he left for you. There's a bunny on the rainbow, busy as he can be. He's painting Easter eggs for you, yellow, pink, and green and blue, while he's working on the rainbow, singing tra-la-tra-lee. He fills his baskets to the top, fast as he can paint and hop. Then when sleepy time rolls around, he comes hurrying to the ground. All the Easter eggs he must hide around the town and the countryside. Then on Easter morning, Bunny plays peek-a-boo. He claps his hands each time you find all the eggs he left for you.
The funny little bunny with a powder puff tail. There was a little bunny who lived down the lane, and his home in an old log rail. With his little pink nose and his long white ears, the funny little bunny with a powder puff tail. He woke one morning and his mama said, "Now take this yellow pail of Easter eggs to the boys and girls, you funny little bunny with a powder puff tail." But on his way, a big bad wolf leaped from the side of the trail. He snapped at the bunny with his long white teeth, but all he got was the powder puff tail. Away he ran to the children's house as fast as he could sail. And the big bad wolf was fooled again by the funny little bunny with a powder puff tail. Now the funny little bunny lives safe and sound in his home in the holler rail. And he sits and he paints on his Easter eggs, the funny little bunny with a powder puff tail. The big bad wolf can't bother him, he's grown too old and frail. No longer can he harm our pal, the funny little bunny with a powder puff tail. So every Easter the bunny can go to the home of the girlies and boys. He takes them lots of Easter eggs to fill their hearts with Easter joys. Now the funny little bunnies all gather round to hear him tell the tale of the way he fooled the big bad wolf, the funny little bunny with a powder puff tail. The funny little bunny with a powder puff tail.
In your Easter bonnet with all the frills upon it, you'll be the grandest lady in the Easter parade. I'll be all in clover, and when they look you over, I'll be the proudest fellow in the Easter parade. On the avenue, Fifth Avenue, the photographer will snap us, and you'll find that you're in the rotograph. Oh, I could write a sonnet about your Easter bonnet and of the girl I'm taking to the Easter parade. On the avenue, Fifth Avenue, The photographers will snap us, and you'll find that you're in the rotograph. Oh, I could write a sonnet about your Easter bonnet and of the girl I'm taking to the Easter parade.
That's the man I'm looking for.
Hi, this is Lily Roman from Hee Haw, and you're listening to Johnny Woodlock on Way Back Don't Change It.
If you see a man called Jesus, well, that's the man I'm looking for.
Well, yes, friends, I would like to once again pay tribute to some great Canadian Northern gems by even greater Canadian Northern legends. With all that mentioned, let's pay tribute to the king of Canadian country music, Stompin' Tom Connors, and a song going out with Easter wishes for John and Kathy up there in Guelph today. And it's going to be an all-time favorite for them by Stompin' Tom called Okanagan Okie. We'll then follow with the legendary Hal Willis, also forever remembered as the lumberjack of country music, for his all-time 1960s era classic called, of course, The Lumberjack. And then we'll wrap up with a song by the father of Canadian country music, Ralph Carter, and a classic going out to Peter and Myrna in Pugwash, Nova Scotia on this Easter Sunday. It'll be Apple Blossom Time in Annapolis Valley. With that, I would like to say and wish each and every one of you a very happy Easter morning. Welcome in, friends, and happy listening.
When the birds are singing springtime in the mountains, and my heart is singing apple blossom time, love is blooming in the Okanagan Valley, and little Okanagan Okie, you're all mine. I don't care if all the world might think I'm hokey when I'm strolling in the moonlight on the trail with my sweet little Okanagan Okie. She's the fairest little blossom in this vale. Little blossom, forever true. Okanagan Okie, I love you. And of all the pretty flowers, I have loved you from the start. Okanagan Okie, blossom of my heart. The birds are singing springtime in the mountains, and my heart is singing apple blossom time. Love is blooming in the Okanagan Valley, and little Okanagan Okie, you're all mine. I don't care if all the world might think I'm hokey when I'm strolling in the moonlight on the trail with my sweetheart Okanagan Okie. She's the fairest little blossom in this vale. Little blossom, forever true. Okanagan Okie, I love you. And of all the pretty flowers, I have loved you from the start. Okanagan Okie, blossom of my heart. Little Okie, you're the blossom of my heart.
Well, I walk along the river with my new sweet saw, with a file in the pocket of my old Mackinaw. I'm headed for the woods each morning at the break of day. As I take a little shortcut over the hill, I can hear the whistle blow at the old sawmill. It's the night gang leaving for the bunkhouse across the bay. Well, I'm sitting on the tree stump eating Johnny cake. I heard the whistle blow, I had to take a break. I'm boiling up my tea in an old tin can, 'cause that is the life of a lumberjack man. I'm gonna cut me a jackpine tall and limber. You better step aside when I haul her timber. My double-bit axe is gonna make the big chips fly. Oh, when the cut is clean, I'll set my wedge and I'll drive it into place with a 9-pound sledge. I've already picked a spot where the big trees are gonna lie. While I'm sitting on a tree stump eating Johnny cake, I heard the whistle blow, I had to take a break. I'm a-bowling up my tea in an old tin camp, 'cause that is the life of a lumberjack man. Well, the swamper's getting ready to take my load, skidding off my logs and pile them on the road. I'm a-waiting for the jammer to put them on the sleigh. Well, the boss man's a-coming to scale my lumber. I better make sure that he's got the right number before I let the logs go rolling on their way.
There's a valley leading down from the great Atlantic to the last word where all beauty can be found. Many years I've lived among its beauty splendor, and to all the world I wish this message known. When it's apple blossom time in Annapolis Valley, where all nature is in bloom to beautify, hey, hey, man. When it's apple blossom time in Annapolis Valley, where God's hand has made a land of paradise. There's a place that's dear to me in Annapolis Valley, I should know. It's our little dream house nestled among the hills. Silvery moonbeams dancing across the golden blossoms. It brings back those fondest memories to me. When it's apple blossom time in Annapolis Valley, where all nature is in bloom to beautify. When it's apple blossom time in Annapolis Valley, where God's hand has made a land of paradise. Take her away, Slim. Hear that boy play that banjo. Hey, hey, man. Wished I could play like that. When the evening shadows fall in Annapolis Valley, sweet perfume from apple blossoms fill the air. There's no other place for me, for I'm so happy, you said it, where Mother Nature has the beauty to compare. Now the chorus. When it's apple blossom time in Annapolis Valley, where all nature is in bloom to beautify. When it's apple blossom time in Annapolis Valley, where God's hand has made a land of paradise. I feel like yodeling.
In the blue Canadian Rockies.
Hi friends, this is Stu Phillips, and you're listening to Way Back with your host, Johnny Woodlock.
And the golden poppies are blooming round the banks of Lake Louise.
Tempting are the bright lights that draw me out each night.
Hi, folks. I'm Carol Baker. You're listening to the Way Back with my good friend, Johnny Woodlock. I know you're going to love the show.
10 little fingers reached out to rescue me.
Well, yes, friends, once again, it's that time in the program to welcome a very special guest of honor onto the program. That, of course, is our littlest member of our morning team, Gunny the Dash Hound. As I welcome Gunny once again to this Easter Sunday morning, I would like to welcome her with a collection of favorites, all associated with the Easter Bunny and the legendary holiday that we celebrate as Easter. With that, first of all, let's remember a dear friend of mine, Merv Shiner, in his version of Egbert the Easter Egg. We'll then follow with Gene Autry once again in his all-time classic called Sonny the Bunny. I'll wrap up Gunny's top favorites this week with none other than Rosemary Clooney once again, her all-time Easter favorite called My Chocolate Rabbit. With that, I'll send these out to each and every one of this time of year who wish we were children again. And with that, welcome in, friends, and happy Easter.
Egbert, the Easter egg, painted like a circus clown. Big green ears and a purple nose and a yellow hat upon his crown. Egbert, the Easter egg, hidden under Daddy's chair, waited while all the boys and girls were looking for him everywhere. He thought they'd never find him, so he began to yell. With a pop, snap, crackle, bang, he yelled till he broke his little shell. But Egbert, the Easter egg, soon was just as good as new. He was found by the boys and girls, and of course they knew just what to do. They pasted him together and started to play. And Egbert, the Easter egg, had a happy Easter day. Egbert, the Easter egg, painted like a circus clown. Big green ears and a purple nose and a yellow hat upon his crown. Egbert, the Easter egg, hidden under Daddy's chair, waited while all the boys and girls were looking for him everywhere. He thought they'd never find him, so he began to yell. With a pop, snap, crackle, bang, he yelled till he broke his little shell. But Egbert, the Easter egg, soon was just as good as new. He was found by the boys and girls, and of course they knew just what to do. They pasted him together and started to play. And Egbert, the Easter egg, had a happy Easter, had a happy Easter, had a happy Easter day. Sonny the bunny is funny as can be, with his floppy ears and his button nose that he wiggles merrily. Sonny the bunny loves to eat his carrots raw. When he munches, crunches, nibbles them, you can hardly see his jaw. If his mother says, "Now, Sonny dear, how about some carrot pie?" he wiggles his nose, hops on his toes, and shouts, "How lucky am I?" Sonny the bunny eats 20 times a day. It's just a habit with a funny rabbit called Sonny the bunny.
One little rabbit hops along the path, sniffing carrots with his nose, leaving footprints for leaf clovers. Oh, what a bunny, there he goes.
Sonny, the bunny, is funny as can be, with his floppy ears and his button nose that he wiggles merrily. Sonny, the bunny, loves to eat his carrots raw. When he munches, crunches, nibbles them, you can hardly see his jaw. If his mother says,
"Now, Sonny dear, how about some carrot pie,
he wiggles his nose, hops on his toes, and shouts, "How lucky am I?" Sonny, the bunny, eats 20 times a day. It's just a habit with a funny rabbit called Sonny, the bunny.
I got a brand new Easter outfit, a coat and hat and all the rest. But there was one thing more from the candy store that I really love the best. I got a chocolate rabbit for a special treat, a great big chocolate rabbit, sweet enough to eat. So I ate his ears on Sunday, his nose I finished Monday, and Tuesday I nibbled on his feet. I ate his tail on Wednesday, Thursday I kept on. By Friday he was going, Saturday he was gone. Oh, I loved my chocolate rabbit from the moment that he came. And if I get another one, I love him just the same. Rabbit for a special treat, a great big chocolate rabbit, sweet enough to eat. So I ate his ears on Sunday, his nose I finished Monday, and Tuesday I nibbled on his feet. I ate his tail on Wednesday, Thursday I kept on. By Friday he was going, Saturday he was gone. Oh, I loved my chocolate rabbit from the moment that he came. And if I get another one, I love him just the same.
I bet you never thought I'd really go. I'd never get as far as Mexico.
Hi, this is Eddie Raven here. Listen to my good friend Johnny Woodlock on Way Back.
I should have left a long time ago. Who needs you? I've got Mexico.
Now, friends, keeping with the tradition of the Way Back with Johnny's Easter Celebrations 2026, I would like to once again welcome a very special interview guest onto the Way Back with Johnny show. And this will be an interview from the years gone by that I got to do with the pride of Carrot Creek, Alberta, native singer Harry Ross, pioneer of Canadian country music. With that mentioned, we're going to pay tribute to this all-time interview with Harry that I got to do several years ago. Now, Harry also passed away last year, so we'll dedicate this in loving memory of him. And then we'll follow this with an all-time classic that was inspired by Easter called The Third Man on the Cross. With that, now here's my late great friend and Canadian country music pioneer, Mr. Harry Ross.
Well, John, it's a very greatest pleasure for me to communicate with you today and talk to you.
Yes, but it's a pleasure to be talking to you, and let's start by saying Happy Easter to you and your wife Gladys.
Happy Easter to all of your listeners, and may they have a joyous today and Easter as well.
So would you tell us about growing up on the trap line out in British Columbia?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
What's that like?
Well, it compared to today's conditions and so on, it was different because, John, out there, especially in the wintertime, the snow would be about 3 or 4 feet deep, and on the old scale to take the measurements of temperatures, it used to be in Fahrenheit, so
oh yes,
most of the time it would be around 50, 60 below for days, and I tell people now that there were days it was so cold, and I remember it was around the time I was about 5 years old. I used to wonder, there must be some other better way, you know.
Exactly.
And never knowing that today I could get into a warm vehicle, just turn up the temperature gauge, and
the
be comfortable as well as in the house. We have a thermostat turn up, but in those days we camped a lot outside in a tent.
Oh yes.
As we traveled, yeah.
And age 6 you developed TB, and soon were put in the Campso Hospital. Would you tell us about that?
Well, TB, tuberculosis, was very rampant among my people, and actually this contagious disease was wiping out most of my type of people, and it wasn't until the Americans came to Canada in 1942 to build the Alaska Highway that anybody took care about these diseases, and I recall in Fort Nelson, where I lived near there, they built a hospital 3 miles from town, and the American doctors, bless their hearts, they kept treating us people, and that's how they finally started to stamp it out.
I see, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And also, you were part of the Charles Campson Hospital. What were your memories of that hospital? I have heard horrifying things about it.
Well, okay, leading up to that, John, my dad, first of all, I had one brother, he died of TB when I was 3, and then my dad took his life when I was 6 and a half, and then my mother eventually died in 1953. The Campbell Hospital, it is the most wonderful healing place I ever knew of.
Okay.
Still of this date. We were treated wonderfully there by the doctors and staff, and in fact, the old hospital site has been purchased by a developer, and I had a meeting with him, and I'm trying to talk him into putting up some kind of a monument in dedication to the people that work there, as well as some of the patients. And so far, the guy's name is Mr. Dub, and he's going to maybe perhaps put in a little garden with a monument, and I'll be coming over with the wording on the monument. But the hospital was marvelous. I was there for 4 years, from 1949 to 1953. I was age 11 to 15 when I came out, and every day was just a tremendous place to be in when you're sick. And all the nurses and doctors and staff are just, in fact, every morning I heard positive words such as, "Good morning, it's time to rise and shine," you know.
Oh yes.
And if any of us were feeling a little low, you know, like despondent or something like that, I remember the nurses would put their arms around you and say, Don't fret. We're here to help you get well, and you're going to get well." That's what I heard for 4 years while I was there.
I see, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you first got your introduction into country music through Hank Snow, who visited the Charles Campbell Hospital in 1952.
Yeah, that's right. He hit the big time with his song "Moving On" in 1950, and he really became very, very famous. And he happened to come to do, I remember the exact date, he come to do a show in Edmonton on the 13th of June, 1952, and somehow the nurses got a hold of him, and he came and visited us in the hospital, and there were 600 patients in the hospital, so it was impossible for him to visit every room, so they wheeled us out in the hallways and the wheelchairs and so on. And amongst the youngsters the other youngsters I was with, it was amazing to me that I was the only one that he came over and talked to.
Oh, is that right? Yes?
Yeah, and it just put a spark in me too. Well, as he walked away from me after he kind of touched me under the chin, as he walked away, I said to myself, I'm going to follow him.
And he also had a big part in bringing you to the Grand Ole Opry in Nashua, Tennessee.
Yeah, he got me, he invited me there, and he arranged for me to get on that stage.
Yes, I see. What was that like for a Canadian to be on the Grand Ole Opry back in those days?
Well, Johnny, I'll never forget the moment. I couldn't believe it to begin with, but I had to retain my composure. So
exactly.
As I sung the first song of a hit at that time in Canada, I had written a song called The Rose of Mexico.
Yes.
Many things flashed through my mind and then furthermore, when I finished the song, I couldn't believe that
you had done it.
Thousands of people stood up and cheered, and it was really John. They called it the Opry as a family.
That's right.
Family Opry, and I was treated like one.
Is that right?
They treated me like one of the family. Yeah.
I see, yes. And then going on into your career a little more, you had 2 books written about your life.
Yeah. I wrote one, and then it's 2 or 3 other ones.
Yes. And one was made into a movie. Would you share with us about that?
Yeah, that was based on the first book I wrote called Beyond the Bend of the River. It tells my life story, and it was made into a television movie. It's called Beyond the Bend of the River, and incidentally, we have copies if anybody's interested. And we also, I'd like to mention that we filmed quite a lot of it at Hank Snow's home, Nashville.
I see, yes. Now, after much success in traditional country music, you dedicated your life to the Lord.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
What led you to the Lord?
Well, a variety of things, actually. And looking back, John, somehow it was a miracle that my parents believed in Jesus as living Son of God, and that stuck with me. And so in 1975, as I went through kind of a rough period there, and that's what brought me to my knees to the Lord. Yeah, at a Bible camp, and I've never looked back since.
And what advice can you give to those wanting to have a relationship?
Well, it's quite simple, and it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't hurt. And John, I'm thrilled that you would ask me a question like that, because today, as we speak on March the 28th, 2022, the world definitely needs Jesus.
That's for sure. It does.
And the way to do it, friends out there, is just calmly close your eyes and say these words. Jesus, I have tried everything on my own. Doesn't work. Now, and I invite you to come into my heart. I give you my heart. Come into my life. Forgive me my sins and save me. And fill me with your Spirit. And Lord Jesus, I want to serve you to the point where I should never have to tell anybody that I'm a Christian, a follower of you. They should know it by my actions, my talk, and whatever I stand for. Amen.
And, of course, this is going to be aired on Easter Sunday. What words of faith or Christian wisdom can you share with us on this holy holiday?
Christmas is when Jesus was born. So at Easter time, friends, that's the day that Jesus arose. They thought they killed him, but he rose from the grave. And incidentally, John, I've been to the Holy Land a couple of times. I did Bible studies there, and I visited the grave, the former grave where they had buried him, and so on. But the thing that I remember mostly about that occasion, John, is today's all the chaos and turmoils of today. People often ask, how do you forgive? How do you overlook somebody that's been mean to me? Blah blah blah. And what I do, friends, is I focus in on where Jesus said on the cross, as he was dying, he said to Father God, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And those words stick with me just almost on a daily basis. Yes. That's the key to reconciliation. Mentioned a while ago, ask Jesus to help you forgive.
Yes.
And just to forgive, and that's the key. That's the reconciliation. That's the healing part. My friends out there, forgive. Then you'll get healing with that. And you cannot buy healing, friends. All the money in the world that you can get is forgiveness through Jesus Christ. That's the healing part. That's the only answer to that, friends. That's from my heart. By the way, John, excuse me, and I thank you again for giving me this privilege to speak with you and our friends in Radio Land, television, whatever. It's a real blessing for me.
Well, it's been a blessing for us to talk to you as well, Harry, on this Easter Sunday, yeah. And what would you say makes Canadian country music so different than that of, say, Nashville, Tennessee?
I think one of the things that makes it a little bit different is because when people sing about the land, especially about the North, about the Klondike days, days of the gold rush, and Wilf Carter made a song very popular about the capture of Albert Johnson. I don't know how many people know about Albert Johnson. He was a trapper, and he kind of went wild and shot a couple of Mounties, and they finally caught up to him in 1932 on the Peel River up in the Yukon. And there's another song that a friend of mine wrote called Irina Cheyenne. It's about a girl that survived battles of the days out of the Yukon and north to Alaska. Johnny Horton made that popular. I think that made when you put it all together, the country music of yesterday, which Jimmie Rogers started in 1930 or so, I think it's popular because it was really popular. I'm sorry to see it decline. It tells about the real life,
real stories
about love and struggles, and yeah.
Well, with that, I want to wish you a happy Easter and many blessings upon you and Gladys, and I hope to have you on the show again soon.
Thank you, John. I thank you for this honor of talking to you, and I just want to leave the listeners with this little prayer that may the Lord Jesus bless you all with great health, peace, and happiness in your lives, and keep you safely in the palm of His hand. And when you go to bed to rest at night, friends, may Jesus, the living Son of God, fill you with the sweetest of dreams. Happy Easter.
Jesus tells us all in John chapter 14, verse 6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. Last night I dreamed I took a walk on Calvary's lonely hill. The things I saw with my own eyes could not have been for you. I saw upon 3 crosses 3 men in agony. 2 cried out for mercy, and the 3rd man, he looked at me. All the hurt in this man's eyes just broke my heart in 2. It seemed that I could hear him say, I'm doing this for you. I knelt beneath the 3rd man's cross and slowly bowed my head in prayer. I reached out to touch his feet. My hands were stained with red. And when I heard him cry out in pain, I raised my eyes to see blood spilled from the 3rd man's side, and some of it spilled on me. This 3rd man wore a crown of thorns, and spikes nailed him to the cross. And I heard him cry out again, my God, hast thou forsaken me? And there among the mighty crowd of those who mocked and shouted at him, yeah, if you're the Son of God, then why not? Save yourself. The 3rd man died. Suddenly I heard the thunder roll and lightning pierced the sky. The 3rd man was still hanging there as I began to cry. I saw the boulders fall and I heard the breaking of the ground, and I woke from this dream a touched my cheek, and I found my eyes were wet where I had cried. This dream I wish I knew. I still can hear the third man cry. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you.
Now, friends, we have reached the end of the second hour of the Way Back with Johnny show here on CFRC and also www.oshawarocks.com. As we play us into the third and final hour of today's program, I would like to pay tribute to a collection of sacred gospel favorites, all associated with the Easter holiday. With that, first, we're going to pay tribute to an all-time classic by the Stanley Brothers called From the Manger to the Cross. We'll then follow with the legendary general of country music, Stonewall Jackson, and his all-time classic called Tree for the Cross, and we'll wrap up this morning with another all-time favorite, this time to send us into the third and final hour, and it'll be Carl Smith with the Carter family, including his first wife, June Carter, and a classic called The Blood That Stained the Old Rugged Cross. With that, I would like to say good morning to each and every one of you listening in. We'll be back on the other side of the third and final hour.
The stories in the Bible, it's a message sad but true. The life our Savior lived on earth is told, found upon the pages of the Master's book of truth. Every word so precious to my soul. From the manger to the cross, the rugged cross of Calvary, the road that Jesus walked for you and me all alone. By the world forsaken, still he shed his blood for me. From the manger to the cross, the rugged cross of Calvary. Earthly treasures did he own, he sought no wealth or fame. Weary was the path he had to trod. Here he suffered many things, for this world knew him not. He died upon the cross, the Son of God. From the manger to the cross, the rugged cross of Calvary, the road that Jesus walked for you and me all alone. By the world forsaken, still he shed his blood for me. From the manger to the cross, the rugged cross of Calvary.
The tree for the cross was standing tall and strong on a lonely hillside, and the leaves began to tremble at his presence when Jesus walked by. Then he turned and he looked on its beauty. There were no trees so tall and so strong, and there all among the trees' branches, the birds sing a beautiful song. Then he stopped and he prayed beneath the shadow of the tree, because he loved you and me. The hand that formed and fashioned the tree would be nailed to the same to save you and me. Then one day an army of soldiers made him carry the tree away, transplanted it there on Calvary, and his love light still shines there today. Yes, he knelt and he prayed beneath the shadow of the tree, because he loved you and me. Yes, the hands that formed and fashioned the tree would be nailed to the same to save you and me. They were nailed to the same to save you and me.
On the cross of Calvary, our blessed Savior died, gave his life to save the world from loss. In his pain and agony, for every sin to hide, shed the blood that stained the old rugged cross. Was his blood, his precious blood, that stained the old rugged cross? Was his love that paid the awful cost? Oh, so far astray, come and plunge today in the blood that stained the old rugged cross. Cross, the rugged cross, they nailed his precious hand, and in death he fully paid the cost. There is pardon in his love for everyone that stands, for the blood that stained the old rugged cross. Was his blood, his precious blood, that stained the old rugged cross? Was his love that paid the awful cost? Oh, so far astray, come and plunge today in the blood that stained the old rugged cross. Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity.
Hello, this is Merv Shiner, the singer of Peter Cottontail, and you're listening to my good friend Johnny Woodlock at the Way Back. Happy Easter, everybody.
Hippity hoppity, happy Easter Day.
Now, friends, following those classic legends of gospel music, I would like to once again welcome you all to this, the third and final hour of the day's program. With that mention, I would like to also remind y'all that we are still coming to you via the Woodlock Ranch and Studios in Cornwall, Ontario, as well as being heard over historic CFRC 1019 FM in the limestone city of Kingston, Ontario, and also being heard throughout the Durham and Greater Toronto area through www.oshawarocks.com, and also way back with Johnny on YouTube. With that all shared, let's once again turn back the years to the golden era of broadcasting and remember sort of sermon that was done by Paul Harvey, one of my true mentors and heroes in broadcasting. And it's going to be more or less his Easter message, which was also called The Birdcage. With that, welcome to the third and final hour, friends, and happy listening.
Paul Harvey's Easter sermon is never the best that you hear on Easter. It's always the shortest. And it starts with a story about a Boston preacher named S.D. Gordon. Dr. Gordon placed a beat-up, bent, rusted old bird cage beside his pulpit and told the story about that bird cage. He said an unkempt, unwashed little lad about age 10 was coming up the alley swinging this old caved-in bird cage with several tiny birds shivering on the floor of it. The compassionate Dr. Gordon asked where did the boy get the birds. The lad said he had trapped them. What was he going to do with them? The preacher asked. The boy said, I'm going to play with them, have fun with them. The preacher said, sooner or later, lad, you're going to get tired of that, and then what are you going to do with them? And the lad said, well, I have some cats at home. They like birds. I'll feed them to my cats. Dr. Gordon said, son, how much do you want for the birds? The boy, surprised, hesitated, and then he said, mister, you don't want to buy these birds. They're just plain old field birds. They can't even sing, and they're ugly. Just tell me, the preacher said. The girl thought about it and stuck up one eye and calculated and hesitated, and he $2? To his surprise, Dr. Gordon reached into his pocket and handed the lad $2 bills. And the preacher took the cage, and the boy in a wink had disappeared down the alley. In a sheltered crevice between buildings, Dr. Gordon opened the door of the cage, and tapping on the rusty exterior, he encouraged the little birds one at a time to find their way out through the narrow door and fly away. Thus, having accounted for the empty cage beside his pulpit, the preacher went on to tell what seemed at first like a separate story about how once upon a time Jesus and the devil had engaged in a negotiation. Satan had boasted how he had baited a trap. In Eden's garden, he had baited a trap, and he'd caught himself a world full of people. What are you going to do with all those people in your cage, Jesus wanted to know. The devil said, I'm going to play with them, tease them, make them marry and divorce and fight and kill one another. I'm going to teach them to throw bombs at each other. I'm going to have fun with them. And Jesus had said you can't have fun with them forever. When you get tired of playing, then what are you going to do with them? And Satan had said, damn them, they're no good anyway. Damn them, kill them. Jesus said, how much do you want for them? Satan said, you can't be serious. If I sell them to you, they'll just spit on you. They'll hate you. They'll hit you and hammer nails into you. They're no good. Jesus said, how much? Satan said, all of your tears and all of your blood. That is the price. And Jesus took the cage and paid the price and opened the door. Now our purpose of Easter in a dozen words. Jesus lived a good life in a wicked world to show us that it could be done. He died and he rose again to show us that we could do that too. Paul Harvey, good day.
Now, friends, it's once again that time in the program to pay tribute to the East Coast of Canada on the Way Back with Johnny show here on CFRC and www.oshawarocks.com. With that mentioned, last weekend I had played a song by our King of the Newfies, Michael T. Wall, a song that he recorded called Gasoline. Now, I had also mentioned last week that it was almost $1.69 or $1.70 a liter. Well, this week I couldn't believe it when I had seen almost $1.90 a liter. Isn't that ridiculous for gas? Anyway, it's going to be that all-time classic by the King of the Newfies, Gasoline, going out to all of us feeling the gas prices these days. Then we'll follow with another all-time favorite, this time by the Pride of the East Coast of Canada, as I have often called him. And it's going to be Dick Nolan and his all-time classic called Aunt Martha's Sheep. And we'll wrap up with another all-time timeless favorite from the East Coast, and this time it'll be Stompin' Tom Connors once again, the king of Canadian country music, and an all-time favorite called Margot's Cargo. With that, welcome into this, the East Coast selection of music. Welcome in, friends, and happy listening.
Gasoline, gasoline, highest prices that I ever seen. What on earth is going on with gasoline, oh gasoline? Filled up my tank the other night, watched that meter just spin out of sight. Don't I wish they'd lower the price of gasoline, oh gasoline? Nowadays, my old car, she spends a lot of time in my backyard. I can't afford to drive her far on gasoline, gasoline. Gasoline, gasoline, highest prices that I ever seen. Aren't we tired of getting reamed by gasoline, oh gasoline? Please fill her up again, sir. What? Almost empty again. Think I'll just buy me a pony with plenty of horsepower. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Just feed us some oats and hay. Giddy up there, Chip. Tie your silver away.
Come gather all around me and I'll sing to you a tale about the boys in Carmerville who almost went to jail. It happened on a November's night when all hands was asleep. We crept up over Joe Tulsil and we stole them Martha's sheep. Now if you pay attention, I know I'll make a laugh. We never went to steal the sheep, we went to steal the calf. The old cow, she got angry because we woke her from her sleep. We couldn't take any chances, so we had to steal the sheep. Well, we got the woolly animal and dragged her from her pen. She said goodbye to little lamb she'd never see again. She knew that those dark strangers soon would take her life. In less than half an hour she felt a dreadful knife. And Martha, she got angry when she heard about the loss. Said she'd catch the robbers no matter what the cost. Next morning just at sunrise she to the office went, and to the RCMP a telegram she sent. Well, the Mountie got the message and he started in to read. This is from my Martha, telling an awful deed. Last night my sheep was stolen, by whom I cannot tell. I'd like for you to catch them and to drag them back to jail. Well, just a short time later, about 12 o'clock that night, we had the sheep a-cooking and everyone feeling tight. The smell of mutton and onions, no man could ask for more. We're chug-a-lugging a minion when the Mountie walked in the door. Said, sorry boys, you party, I really don't want to wreck. I smelt the meat of cooking and I had to come in and check. You see the sheep is stolen and the thief is on the loose. As I come right in and join us, sir, we're having a piece of moose. Well, he came right in, he sat right down, we gave him a piece of sheep. And this is the finest piece of moose I knows I ever eat. At 2 o'clock in the morning, he bid us all good day. We gets the goose and the sheep, sir, we'll phone you right away. Said, thanks a lot, you're darn fine bunch of promise I know you keep. If everyone was as good as you wouldn't have lost a sheep. After he left, we had the piece, we had the oven to roast. We might have stole the sheep, boys, but the amount he ate the most.
Have you heard the news in Newfoundland, rolling around the rock? How Reggie brought for Margie home a cowsy dungsy clock. With Margie being a farm girl, she almost took a fit to find the cowsy dungsy clock was really made of it. The clock was from Toronto and her mind was soon made up. She said to Reggie, get the cow and load her on the truck. We're heading for Ontario and we're off to make her big. 'Cause Margot's got the cargo by and Reggie's got the rig. Reggie's got the rig. Reggie's got the rig. Margot's got the cargo by and Reggie's got the rig. Now they're rolling through the Maritimes, the truck was nearly full. The cow began to bawl, she was lonesome for the bull. The Mountie pulled him over, is there something I can do? Go right ahead, sir, Margie said, climb in the back and move. Now when they got to Montreal, they missed the auto route, but they found that everyone in town was glad to help them out. The sooner you hit Toronto, they said, the sooner you'll make her big. 'Cause Margot got the cargo by and Reggie's got the rig. Reggie's got the rig. Reggie's got the rig. Margot's got the cargo by and Reggie's got the rig. Now the truck was overflowing when Toronto hit the rise. The 401 was full of dung and the cab was full of flies. We're losing lots of money, Reg, we can't afford to stop. We gotta find the place that makes the cowsy dungsy clock. Well, I wish you could have been there on the corner of Queen and Yonge, when Margot found the company and she dumped her load of dung. And when she found the office, she was singing and doing a jig. Margot's got the cargo buys and Reggie's got the rig. Reggie got the rig. Reggie got the rig. Margot brought the cargo buys and Reggie brought the rig. It was later in the evening when they heard from Mr. Judge. I don't know what to give yous, but I'll never hold a grudge. I think $1,000 would be fair to hand you down, and 30 days of lodging will be free upon the town. Now Margot says to Reggie, what a hell of a deal we struck. We might have lost a cow by, but still we got the truck. And now they're back in Newfoundland, they're loading up the pig. 'Cause Margot got the cargo by and Reggie's got the rig. Reggie's got the rig. Reggie's got the rig. Margot's got the cargo by and Reggie's got the rig. Margot's got the cargo by and Reggie's got the rig.
With the Lord, you and me.
Hi friends, it's Peter Trenum from way down here in Nova Scotia. You're listening to my good friend Johnny Woodlock on the way back.
To be ever with the Lord, you and me.
Well, yes, friends, now it's that time in the program to pay tribute to high lonesome sounds of bluegrass music, as we also send out a very happy and very special belated birthday message to my dear friend Sandra Day in Ingleside, Ontario. With that, we'll send out a birthday song to her by all her friends in bluegrass, and it's going to be Mac Wiseman and an all-time classic called Maple on the Hill. Then we'll follow with the newest inductees to the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville, the famed Stanley Brothers, Ralph and Carter Stanley, and Masters Bouquet. And we'll wrap up with another all-time favorite by a band that I recently seen last year, and it's going to be nothing fancy, and it'll be a song called The Bluebirds Are Singing for Me. With that, I would like to say good morning and happy Easter to all our bluegrass fans out there in Radio World.
Near a quiet country village stood a maple on the hill. There I sat with my Janetta long ago. When the stars were shining brightly, we could hear the whippoorwill as we sat beneath the maple on the hill. We would sing love songs together when the birds had gone to rest, and we'd listen to the murmur of the rill. Then you throw your arms around me, lay your head up on my chest as we sat beneath the maple on the hill. And our hair is turning gray. We no longer hear the ripple of the rill. Still, I'll always love you, darling, as I did those starry nights when we sat beneath the maple on the hill. Don't forget me, little darling, when they lay me down to rest. That you gave, while you linger there in silence, thinking, darling, of the past. May your teardrops kiss the flowers on my grave. I will soon be with the angels on that bright and shore. Even now I hear them coming over the hill. So goodbye, my little darling, it is time for us to part. I must leave you and the maple on the hill. Death is an angel sent down from above, sent for the buds of the flowers we love. Truly a soul for in heaven's own way. Each soul is a flower in the Master's bouquet. Gathering flowers for the Master's bouquet, beautiful flowers that will never decay. Gathered by angels and carried away, forever to bloom in the Master's bouquet. Loved ones are passing each day and each hour, passing away as the life of a flower. But every bud and each blossom someday will bloom as a flower in the Master's bouquet. Gathering flowers for the Master's bouquet, beautiful flowers that will never decay, gathered by angels and carried away, forever to bloom in the Master's bouquet. Let us be faithful till life's work is done, blooming with love till the reaper shall come. Then we'll be gathered together someday, transplanted to bloom in the Master's bouquet. Gathering flowers for the Master's bouquet, beautiful flowers that will never decay, gathered by angels and carried away, forever to bloom in the Master's bouquet. Gathering flowers for the Master's bouquet, beautiful flowers that will never decay, gathered by angels and carried away, forever to bloom in the Master's bouquet.
I miss my darling, she loved me, I know, she always will. There's a bluebird singing in the Blue Ridge Mountains, calling me back to my home. Oh, I can hear those bluebirds calling me back to my home. Sleeping there beneath the clay. There's a bluebird singing in the Blue Ridge Mountains, calling me back to my home. Oh, I can hear those bluebirds calling me back to my home. Those memories, they haunt me still. There's a bluebird singing in the Blue Ridge Mountains, calling me back to my home. Oh, I can hear those bluebirds calling me back to my home. Singing in the Blue Ridge Mountains, calling me back to my home. Oh, I can hear those bluebirds calling me back to my home.
Freight train, going so fast. Freight train, going so fast.
Hi there, this is Jesse McReynolds, member of the Grand Ole Opry, Nashville, Tennessee. And you listen to my friend Johnny Woodlock.
I don't care what train I'm on, as long as it keeps rolling on.
Well, yes, friends, now it's that time in the program to pay tribute to one last final gospel interview that I got to do over the years with none other than J.D. Sumner's nephew, the legendary Donnie Sumner. And following this interview with Donnie Sumner of the gospel genre music, we're going to pay tribute to an all-time favorite associated with Easter, and that, of course, is called The Night Before Easter. With that, we'll pay tribute to this all-time interview from many years ago, and now here is none other than Donnie Sumner once again. So I'd like to welcome to the Wayback Country Gospel Jamboree today a true icon of gospel music. This man's great uncle was, of course, the deepest bass singer in the Bill Gaither Quartet, who also was the founding member of the great Stamps Quartet. Please make welcome to our show the man who is the nephew of the legendary J.D. Sumner, Mr. Donnie Sumner.
Thank you, John. It's good to be here, buddy.
Well, it's great to be talking to you. Your uncle was a wonderful man, as you are.
He was my hero. Thanks for the compliment.
So, born into the J.D. Sumner family, what was it like being the nephew of J.D.?
Well, for him, my daddy was a preacher, and it was J.D.'s brother.
Okay.
And he was just my Uncle Jake. I called him Jake. Everybody in the family called him Jake.
Okay.
He was just Uncle Jake, but he was always my hero.
Growing up, did he get you inspired into the gospel music?
I always wanted to be like J.D., and that was the reason I went into gospel music.
Okay, sure. And at what age did you know that you were wanting to become a gospel singer like your uncle?
As far back as I can remember, which is about 4 or 5 years old.
Okay, And do you have any of your favorite memories of J.D.?
Well, I've got so many, Johnny, it could be hard to pick out one. I remember him when he was with the Sunshine Boys, and he was on the Wheeling, West Virginia WWBA Jamboree. I remember when he joined the Blackwoods. I remember going to singing my first concert, and he was there.
Okay.
I just got so many, Johnny. It'd be hard to pick out one, buddy.
I understand that, yes. So I'd like to ask about a song that you had out called The Night Before Easter.
Yes, sir.
What's the story behind that song?
Well, it was 1969, and I was in California with Stamps Quartet, and my family was back here, and it was the week of Easter, and my wife always dressed up my little boy like John Boy Kennedy.
Okay.
And I got to thinking on Saturday night about what he was going to be doing Sunday afternoon, getting eggs and getting his clothes messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I began to think about what it might have been like the night before Jesus was risen from the grave, and that's what prompted me to write the song called The Night Before Easter, about what was happening in and around Jerusalem just before the resurrection.
Okay, sure. So I would like to ask about, I've been speaking to many ministers over the years, and they say there's quite a decline in the church attendance. What is your thoughts on this?
There's not a decline in church attendance. There's a decline in fundamental.
Okay.
What you call fundamental Pentecostal religion.
Yes. Okay.
Everything's going to a new breed of Pentecostalism, but the church world is doing fine. Some of the biggest churches in the world are during this generation.
Okay. And another question I have here is you worked with the late great Elvis Presley on a lot of his music.
Yeah, sure. I did I think 18 albums with Elvis, and he recorded 2 of my songs, and I did somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 shows with him.
Oh wow. So you must have known him quite well, did you?
I lived in his house for 3 years.
Oh yes. So was he, part of my ignorance, but he had a gospel side to him. It wasn't all the sex symbol and all that. He had a true relationship with the Lord, didn't he?
Johnny, when someone asked me about someone else's spiritual relationship with Christ, I never answer. That's between them.
Okay.
I'll just say that he had a true love for gospel music.
Yes.
That was his favorite form of music, and my group called Voice sang to him every night, at least a couple of hours.
Okay.
Of gospel music at the house or in the hotel or wherever he was at. That's the reason he hired us, to sing gospel music to him at night.
Okay.
But as far as his relationship with Christ, that was between him and the good Lord.
Yeah, I understand you there, yes. As my grandfather says, it's very personal.
Yeah. I can't answer for nobody but me. I am, and I hope everybody else is.
Yes. Yes, amen to that. So your uncle was known for many of his songs that he recorded. One of these that I'd like to ask about is a recitation he recorded on his final album called Old Men Death.
He was in the hospital, and they were fixing to do some kind of serious procedure on him, and he wrote that poem the night before he went into surgery. And a few days later, he was out of the hospital, and on his next record, he recorded it. I produced the record.
Okay, yeah. And it must have been quite spiritual or emotional doing that, because I can't hear it without shivers going down my back.
Yeah, he sort of got into it pretty good while he was doing it.
He sure did, yeah. And you've also written many of the modern day hymns, I understand.
I've written a lot of songs, Johnny. I don't really know how many.
Okay.
I've got a couple of song books of my songs, and
yes.
I can't tell you how many records I've been on, other people singing my music.
Okay. So that question that I'd like to ask is, what is your thoughts on the biggest change of gospel music during the last 20 to 50 years?
Oh, the biggest change is there's not very many quartets left. There's family groups and contemporary groups. There's not very many of the old-fashioned Southern gospel groups out there anymore. Nobody dresses alike anymore. Nobody puts on a show. They sort of went into the church world as opposed to the concert stage world.
Okay.
That's the biggest difference.
Yeah, and I was talking to Bill Gaither just half an hour ago, and he was talking about the drums and different things in the music.
Oh, yeah, it used to be just the piano alone and 4 singers.
Yes.
And now you can't have a group unless you use a soundtrack. There's no more live bands hardly, and it's all really highly produced soundtracks, and they've lost the old-fashioned sound of Southern gospel music.
Exactly, they sure have.
The closest thing they had was the old Southern gospel was cathedrals, and they retired.
Okay. So the last question is, how would you like to be remembered when the time comes?
Well, serious and humorous.
Okay.
my brother-in-law was passing away in hospice, and he said, "Donnie, what do you want them to look when they come by and look at you? What do you want them to say?" He said, "When they come by and look at me, I want them to say he's a great man. What do you want them to say?" I said, "Ed, when they come by and look at me, I want them to look down at me and say, 'My Lord, he's alive.'"
Yes. Yeah.
But seriously, I would like to be known as a man who honored his word, had integrity, and loved his family, and was kind to his friends, and helped as many people as he could. If they say that, I'll be happy.
Well, I'm sure they will, Donnie.
Thanks, Johnny, for having me on. You have a blessed day, buddy.
Well, you too. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Sit down and write myself a letter and make believe it came from you.
Good afternoon, friends, and this here's your host with the most, Country Western Music, Johnny Woodlock. I'd like to invite y'all to contact me, yours truly, the host with the most, Country Western Music, here at CFRC, through my P.O. Box up here in Cornwall, Ontario, and I'll be sure to write you back. So just write to Mr. Johnny Woodlock, care of the Woodlock Ranch, at P.O. Box 21007, Cornwall, Ontario, K6H 7H8. That's the old-fashioned snail mail way, or feel free to email me at waybackcountry@cfrc.ca, and I'll be sure to write you back and send you some amazing photos of our beloved Woodlock mascot, Simbush, and our beloved late mascot, Martino the Wonder Goat. Thank you, and you have a blessed day.
I'm gonna sit right down and write myself a letter and make believe it came from you.
When the darkness I see, he'll be waiting for me.
I won't have to cross Jordan alone. It's a cold, dreary day, and I'm laying in my room. You see, I don't have long to live, and I'll be leaving here soon. Oh, I've had a good life with so many happy memories. And
I relived them all today, and they were so real to me. Saw my daddy working in the field, and I heard Mama pray again, and even saw our little preacher roll up his sleeves and preach on the devil and sin. And I remember when I married my little woman, and how we toiled together to raise our family. It seemed that she'd strive and do things every day to make it easier on me. You see, God gave us two little girls, and again today I heard them cry. Heard them laugh and saw them play, but now I've told them goodbye. Ah, this old room is cold. And there's somebody here I've never met before. I know who it is. It's Old Man Death. I saw him when he came through the door. Listen, he's speaking now, and I can hardly see. Okay, old boy, your time is up. You're to come and go with me. Oh, I'll admit that I'm scared, and I'm holding to my wife's little hand. But I said, okay, Mr. Death, but before I go, that's something you got to understand. You don't scare me none. I got a friend who's going with me. Why, he walked up Calvary's Hill 2,000 years ago and gave his life, don't you see? Why, he even conquered you, Mr. Death, and he paid the price of sin. And he arose from that old grave. Do you understand me? And he's coming back again. And when I've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, I'll have no less days to sing my God's praise than when I first begun. Oh, I can see old Jordan, but I have Jesus by the hand. This is why you hold no fear for me, do you understand? Now go ahead and take my body, but you can't touch my soul. It belongs to Jesus, and over him you have no control. Mr. Death, where is thy sting, O grave, thy victory? Let's go now. Want to rest in the arms of Jesus throughout eternity.
When the darkness I see, he'll be waiting for me.
I won't have to cross Jordan alone.
Morning and hear my radio. Come to life with music from my favorite bluegrass show.
Now look at me, baby, I'm on the way gone.
Did you hear the lonesome dove?
Howdy friends and listeners, this here's your old host with the most. I'd like to tell you all about the 2026 Gallup Canal Bluegrass Festival. Coming up the summer of 2026, happening from June 17th to the 20th, where you can see some of the greatest bluegrass legends of today, such as Jackson Hollow, High River, and of course, our headliner, Junior Sisk. The full weekend pass only costs $120 in advance. That's until June 1st of 2026. However, there will also be day passes available at the gate. So get yours today by visiting GallupCanalBluegrass.ca or by contacting Barb at 613-543-3114. See y'all there, friends.
Where we vow to love each other.
Heavenly angel, I'm where I belong, right here in your arms.
Path I choose. I'm hooked on bluegrass music. It's the only drug I use.
Now, friends, following that interview with our legendary friend Donnie Sumner of the gospel genre music, we're once again back here, and it's that time in the program to pay tribute to a very special recording by none other than Stoney Cooper of the famed Stoney Cooper and Wilma Lee fame. With that mentioned, we're going to share a very special audio here that was called The Story of the Three Nails. Now, this is the true meaning of Easter and the true meaning of Christ. With that mentioned, we'll dedicate this to a dear friend of mine and her family on this Easter morning. With that, welcome in, friends, and happy listening. We'll be back following this with the Way Back Song of the Week.
Friends, I would like very much to tell you the story of the three nails. It all happened a long time ago in a faraway country. Now, these three nails were not like the nails we know so well today. These were not made by machines and were so much larger, they were called spikes. These three nails were born in a tiny shop in the city of Jerusalem and lived in a small wooden box on the very top shelf in the shop. This pleased them no end, for from their lofty perch they could see the crowds that thronged the busy street. Now, about the time our story really began, there was a young man creating quite a commotion in that part of the country. It seems he had been going about from city to city, healing the sick and raising the dead. Why, he had even turned the water into wine. Yes, the three nails had heard quite a bit about this man from conversations in the shop. And being intelligent and not at all like ordinary nails, they had discussed among themselves the question as to what manner of man this could be. Some of the people they had overheard said he was a prophet, while others contended that he performed the miracles through the power of Beelzebub. Now, as we said, these three nails were very intelligent, so they agreed they would wait for a chance to see and hear this man before they should say he is true or he is false, which you must agree was a very honest and fair decision. As the days passed swiftly into months, it became more and more apparent to the three nails that the religious rulers and those in authority were becoming more and more alarmed at the many wonders this man did. In their little box home on the top shelf, the three nails hoped and prayed that this man would pass down the street so they could see him. As they eagerly waited for that day, they began to tell each other how each thought he would look. Tall? No, answered another. I think he is no taller than Joseph, the shopkeeper. Perhaps he is rather stout and jolly, ventured another. No, answered the wisest of the three. From all we have heard, he has no place to live and not near enough to eat. I am sure that he is neither stout nor jolly. Now, every year at this time, the people observed the feast of the Passover in Jerusalem, and the three nails knew there would be the usual crowd with all the excitement of a great holiday. But this year, it was so different. There was a tension among the people. The three nails could feel something evil and sinister in many of the faces of those who came into the shop. However, in a few faces, the three nails could discern fear, and on some were traces of a tear. How they wished somebody would buy them so that they might be taken out into the crowd where they could learn what had caused all this unusual excitement. Then it happened. Suddenly, a large, rough hand dipped into the box and grasped the 3 nails tightly. Then very swiftly they were carried out of the shop and toward a hill that stood just outside the city. The 3 nails shouted with happiness, "Free, free at last." Now if fate was kind, perhaps they would see and hear this man called Jesus. Then one of the nails, peeking between 2 very rough and firm fingers, explained, "I know this place. Who would build a house or a barn, for that matter, on Golgotha?" The hand slowly opened, and there on the ground lay a huge wooden cross. But it was not the cross that made their little steel hearts stand still. No, it was the man who was stretched out upon it, ready for crucifixion. Never in their life at the shop, where all manner of man came and went, had they seen such a man as this. How could you describe all the beauty and humility, the strength and the goodness one could see in this doomed man? No, all the words in the world could never do him justice. Surely he must be the Son of God. Then, like a bolt of lightning, the 3 nails realized why they had been brought here and the awful crime that they were to be a part of. In the last seconds before they were driven into his feet and hands, the 3 nails spoke to him in the language of nails, which I am sure he understood, and asked him to forgive them for their part in this dreadful deed. And I am just as sure that had you been there and could speak the language of nails, you would have heard him say with a smile, "I understand, and you are forgiven." And that, my friends, is the story of the 3 nails.
Well, yes, friends, once again, before we say so long from the Way Back with Johnny show, I would like to pay tribute to the Way Back Song of the Week. With that mentioned, this being Easter and a holiday associated with candy and bunnies, I would like to once again pay tribute to an all-time favorite from many, many years ago that was a favorite of my late granny's, and that was called the Big Rock Candy Mountain. This version is going to be the original version by none other than the Wayfaring Stranger, as he was often referred to as, and also Big Daddy on Fiddler on the Roof, and that of course is Burl Ives. We will be back following this, send us all the way home. Welcome in, friends. Now here's Burl.
Oh, the buzzing of the bees and the cigarette trees, the soda water fountain, where the lemonade springs and the bluebird sings in that Big Rock Candy Mountain. On a summer's day in the month of May, a burly bum come a-hiking down a shady lane near the sugar cane. He was looking for his liking. As he strolled along, he sung a song of a land of milk and honey, where a bum can stay for many a day, and he won't need any money. Oh, 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 oh. The buzzing of the bees and the cigarette trees, the soda water fountain, where the lemonade springs and the bluebird sings in that Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the Big Rock Candy Mountain, the cops have wooden legs, the bulldogs all have rubber teeth, and the hens lay soft-boiled eggs. The farmers' trees are full of fruit, the barns are full of hay. I want to go where there ain't no snow, where the sleet don't fall and the wind don't blow, in that Big Rock Candy Mountain. Oh, the buzzing of the bees and the cigarette trees, the soda water fountain, where the lemonade springs and the bluebird sings in that big rock candy mountain. Oh, 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 oh. The buzzing of the bees and the cigarette trees, the soda water fountain, where the lemonade springs and the bluebird sings in that big rock candy mountain.
Well, yes, friends, once again, it's that time in the program to say so long from the Way Back with Johnny show here on CFRC 1019 FM and also www.oshawarocks.com. With that mentioned, I would like to wish each and every one of you a very blessed and happy Easter out there who are listening in today. I'd also like to wish you all a wonderful week coming up, as we will be back next weekend, same great time, same great place. In the meantime, may God bless and keep each and every one of you, and as I say, have a good Easter, as they play us all the way home today with two essential songs of Easter. First of all, it's going to be an all-time classic by Hank Locklin, the great tenor of country music, and an all-time classic called The Upper Room. Then we'll follow with Wilma Lee and Stoney Cooper one final time today, and an all-time favorite called Walking My Lord Up Calvary's Hill. With that, may God bless and keep y'all, and yes, as I say, happy Easter each and every one of you. Catch y'all next weekend. So long, friends.
It was getting dark in the evening gloom when the master entered in the upper room, and with him 11 apostles so true. One had turned traitor, as the master well knew. The time now had come for God's will to be done. The great God was given His only dear Son to spill out His lifeblood for men of goodwill. The dear kind Christ Jesus would pay Adam's bill.
And while they were dining, the Master took bread, and with a prayer He broke it. And these are the words that He said. This is my body, which is given for you. Eat it in remembrance for the works that you must do. He then took the cup and gave thanks over it, and said, "This is my blood. You must drink every bit. It is shed for the many who will answer the call to redeem falling mankind. I've given my all. Tears fill my eyes. There's no more to say. We all know the story of the next day. They seized our dear Savior. They mocked Him with scorn.
how through our Savior the kingdom was born. The pieces of silver did Judas no good. He hung himself as Christ knew he would. Thus the fingers of God wove into life's loom the memorial promise in the upper room.
On the cross as he hung him, shame was forsaken as they drove the nails in his hands and his feet. As death closed his eyes, his eyes went to heaven. Oh, Father, forgive them, I hear him repeat. One morning past daybreak, as the crowd slowly gathered, like the sheep he was humbled to his Father's own will. So sad was his face that the birds stopped their singing. They were walking my Lord up Calvary's hill, Calvary's hill. In a tomb he was laid, but death could not hurt him. He was God's only Son in this world below. On the cross he fulfilled the plan of salvation. I want to thank Jesus for he's coming again.
One morning past daybreak,
One morning past daybreak,
as the crowd slowly gathered,
as the crowd slowly gathered,
like a sheep he was humbled
like the sheep he was humbled
to his Father's own will.
to his Father's own will.
So sad was his face,
So sad was his face that
the birds stopped their singing.
the birds stopped their singing.
They were walking my Lord
They were walking my Lord
up Calvary's hill.
up Calvary's hill, Calvary's hill.
Another show is over, another day gone by, with good friends all around me. How the time do fly.
Howdy, friends and listeners. This here is your old host with most, Johnny Woodlock, reporting for Way Back with Johnny over this great channel. The previous show does not represent anything associated with the channel heard on. It is the sole associate of Woodlock Ranch Studios, Cornwall, Ontario. With that, have a great day, and we'll catch y'all next week. So long, friends.
It's hard to find the words I want to say, but friends, I'll try. God bless you all and keep you till we meet again. Goodbye.